This video is about the decline of feudalism. Feudalism was a loosely organized system of government that had four social classes that you were born into your social class, and you couldn't change your social class throughout your life, so you're stuck there forever. At the top there were monarchs, below them were lords or nobles, then knights, and then the peasants. With the decline of feudalism, a group's power may go up because of one event but down because of another. For example, the power of monarchs goes down because of the Magna Carta, but it goes up because of the 100 Years' War. But anytime a group's power changes, feudalism becomes less stable and it weakens the system of feudalism. Feudalism declined between the 12th and 15th centuries, so there wasn't like a specific date or specific year where it ended. It just started to crumble over time because of various issues. So one of the first issues that weakened feudalism was the Magna Carta. King John signed this because his nobles pressured him into it because they were upset about some of the taxes he had issued, as well as rights that were being denied. So in signing the Magna Carta, King John agreed to consult his great council before issuing special taxes, and the Magna Carta did not allow people to be jailed without a reason. So this song clip is about the nobles who were angry with King John because of his taxes and how he treated them. So with the Magna Carta, it protected the rights and privileges of nobles. It established the idea that citizens had rights and freedoms even the king couldn't take away. So this next song goes along with that idea.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
So that was MC Hammer, in case you didn't know. Other ideas set up by the Magna Carta were that monarchs should rule with the consent of the people they're in charge of, and that idea comes from the fact that King John had to consult the Great Council before issuing special taxes, so he got their consent to issue the taxes. Also, the monarch's power decreased, and with this issue, the power of nobles and common people increased. Also in England was the creation of Parliament under King Edward. This had different social classes. That was part of it. Parliament is the legislature of Great Britain. And this gave common people a role in the government, and the power of government wasn't just in the hands of the rich people. So there's my poor person with his money falling out of his pockets. I know he has a suit on, but it's one of the best pictures I could find. So this song is for having more power in the government for the common people. And this song is also for the same topic.
Tell me something good. Tell me that you love me, yeah. Tell me something good. Tell me that you like it, yeah.
So we also have studied how there were different economic changes, including the increased use of money. And this song is for the increased use of money. So One of the reasons why money began to be used more is because feudal lords needed money to buy goods that couldn't be found on the manor. This led to peasants paying the lords money to rent farmland and becoming tenant farmers. They now no longer were tied to the lords for life because they were tenant farmers, and they were paying the money for the farmland. And the nobles were happy with that because they got the money they wanted to buy foreign goods. Money began to be used more frequently also because of the Crusades. Again, nobles needed money this time for their trips to the Holy Land, so they were willing to take rent money for farmland from the peasants, and this led to the peasants becoming tenant farmers. So the next reason for the decline of feudalism has to do with the Black Death. So obviously the Black Death killed a lot of people in Europe, up to 24 million people, and this really affected trade and business because so many workers and employers had been dying. So this next song is for all of the deaths that were happening.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey, we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
Couldn't get that to stop for a second. Anyway, all right, so once Europe was recovering from the plague, the economy had to be rebuilt, and this time the lords didn't have as much power because after the plague, the need for workers was really high. The remaining workers who hadn't died from the plague demanded higher wages, and they were able to demand more money and rights because they were in demand. The peasants left manors to look for job opportunities in towns and cities. This weakened the manor system and the power of the feudal lords because they had fewer peasants that they were in charge of that were on the manors. And in the video we watched, you heard about how peasants left the manors, how some of the nobles were left to do farming for themselves. And so the peasants are gaining more power because of the Black Death, like once the Black Death had ended, and the nobles are losing it. So here are some sad nobles. The peasants revolted after the plague. Nobles wanted to return life to the way it had been before the plague because obviously life was good for them. They were towards the top of the social classes. But the peasants didn't like this. Obviously before the plague they were at the bottom. Their lives weren't that great, so they revolted in different countries. This next song is for the nobles wanting to return life to the way it had been.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something. I said you wanna be starting something. You got to be starting something.
I just realized that I forgot one of my songs from the previous slide. So this song is one of my favorite songs ever. This song relates to the peasants leaving the manors to go to the towns for better opportunities, better job opportunities. So that's Run DMC and Aerosmith, one of my favorite songs ever. All right. Here's some angry animals. They're meant to relate to the angry peasants. All right, so the last topic that contributed to the decline of feudalism was the 100 Years' War. Feudal lords lost power because of the 100 Years' War. Monarchs and common people gained it. Monarchs gained power because during the war they were collecting taxes from the people and raising large armies to fight. The monarchs no longer needed the nobles to provide them with knights to fight. And this next song has to just do with war and conflict. And this song is also for the monarchs gaining power. So there was new technology that was used during the 100 Years' War, the longbow, which pierced the armor of knights, and then the castles destroyed cannons. How about the opposite? Cannons destroyed the castles. This made the knights and castles less useful, and that is making feudalism fall apart because the knights aren't needed. You don't even need one social class anymore. There was increased feelings of nationalism because of the 100 Years' War. Peasants became more loyal to local lords than before the war, they were more loyal to local lords than kings. And then after the war, they had more there was more pride in their country, and there was more national unity. This would be as if, like, before the war, if peasants would be more loyal to, like, their small area. So it'd be like as if in the United States we were more loyal to Massachusetts, and then there was a war or something that caused us to be more loyal to the whole country. It's the same type of idea. That song was for the canon. This song is, actually I want to play it on the next slide. So the status of peasants increased because of the 100 Years' War, because during the war they were fighting the army and they were used as soldiers, and same thing happened after the war. They were needed as soldiers and workers. This song has to do with them fighting as soldiers.
Was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing.
So obviously they didn't do kung fu fighting, but I just love that song, so I had to include it. So because of the 100 Years' War, the power of the common people or peasants increased, and their influence increased, and they were needed in society for new roles, not just farming. And overall there was just less acceptance of feudalism as the way society should be structured because of the 100 Years' War. This is a chart that we'll fill in that talks about whose power increased or decreased with what issues. And that is the end. Hope you learned a lot about the end of feudalism.